Hello guys, the theme of our lesson Germanic settlement of Britain, beginning of English. Old English historical backgrounds consist from pre-Germanic Britain, about Picts, Celts, Roman Britain, and Germanic settlement of Britain. Germanic settlement of Britain. The 5th century is the age of increased Germanic expansion. About the middle of the century, several West Germanic tribes invaded Britain and colonized the island by the end of the century. It is a map of roads taken across the North Sea by Germanic tribes in the 5th century. The Jutes come from Jutland and settled in Kent. The Saxons come from the area of present-day Lower Saxony and settled largely south of the river Thames. The Angles come from the lower part of the Jutland Peninsula, which is now Holstein in Germany, and settled in central and northern England. The English historian Bede recorded those events in Historia Ecclesiastica Gentis Anglorum. He wrote that England was colonized by 3 Germanic tribes, Angles, Saxons, and Jutes. Bede reported that the Saxons were invited by Romanized British to help them fight against their enemies from the north. History of English Church and People, as you see. Bede reported that the Saxons were invited by the Romanized British to help them fight against their enemies from the north. Having settled in the east of England, the newcomers invited others of their tribes to settle here. That the Angles occupied the Midlands and north of the country. The Saxons settled all of southern England except Kent and parts of Hampshire and the Isle of Wight. Their name survives in various county and regional names such as Sussex, South Saxons, Wessex, West Saxons, and so on. Kent, the Isle of Wight, with parts of neighboring Hampshire, were settled by the Jutes, so the dialect of Kent is referred to as Kentish rather than Jutish. The Heptarchy. At about the middle of the 6th century, it was possible to recognize several distinct regions, which led their own forms of government. This became recognized as the Heptarchy, or 7 kingdoms: Wessex, Sussex, Kent, Essex, East Anglia, Mercia, and Northumbria. It is these 7 kingdoms which provide the basis for most dialect study of this period, so written remains are not found until the beginning of the 8th century. Politically, no one of these kingdoms was able to achieve supremacy over the others. England and English. The Celts called the Germanic conquerors Saxons indiscriminately. The land was called Saxonia, but soon the terms Angli and Anglia occur beside Saxons and refer not to the Angles individually but the West German tribes generally. Writers in the vernacular never call their language anything but English. The word is derived from the name of Angles, Old English Angle. The land is called Anglican. From about the year 1000, England begins to take its place. It's impossible to say how much the speech of the Angles differed from that of the Saxons or that of the Jutes. the differences were certainly slight. Old English dialects. The Germanic tribes that settled in Britain in the 5th and 6th centuries spoke closely related dialects belonging to the West Germanic group. Eventually, they began to use English. But at the early stages of their development, the dialects remained disunited. Old English dialects acquired certain common features that distinguished them from the continental Germanic languages. The main four dialects were: first, Kentish, spoken in the area not known as Kent and Surrey, and in the Isle of Wight. This dialect developed from the tongue of the Jutes and Frisians. Second dialect, West Saxon, spoken in the rest of England south the Thames and the Bristol Channel, except Wales and Cornwall. The Celtic dialects were preserved. Third dialect, Mercian, spoken in the Kingdom of Mercia in the central region from the Thames to the Humber. Fourth dialect, Northumbrian, spoken from the Humber north to the River Foss. It is a map of dialects: Northumbria, Mercia, and so on. Anglo-Saxon invasion map. It is a Saxon house, which was reconstructed. Old English dialects map again, as you see: Northumbrian, Mercian, West Saxon, and Kentish. Old English written accounts outline: runic accounts and Old English manuscripts. The earliest written records in English are inscriptions on hard material made in runes. The word rune originally means secret, mystery. Each character indicated a separate sound. Futhark. Old Norse runes. Old English runes. Futhark. In same inscriptions, the runes were arranged in a fixed order, making a sort of alphabet. It was called Futhark or Fathark. The letters are angular, straight lines are preferred. This is due to the fact that runic inscriptions were cut on hard material, stone, bone, or wood. The number of runes was from 28 to 33. New sounds appeared. Runic inscriptions. The two best known runic inscriptions in England are on a box called the Frank's Casket, a short text on a stone cross in Dumfriesshire near the village of Rootwell, known as the Rootwell Cross. Both records are in the Northumbrian dialect. You can see Frank's Casket on the slide. It is front side, left side, back side, and right side. It is the lid. Roosevelt Cross in Churchyard, 1880s, 19th century. Roosevelt Church, Roosevelt Cross. The cross is literally decorated with Christian symbols. The two faces are carved with a series of panels, each one illustrating a scene from the Gospels and accompanied by a Latin text. The sides are carved with vine leaves and animals, and around the borderlands Iranic inscriptions. This is a part of the Dream of the Rood, an early English poem on the crucifixion. Detail showing the intricate Celtic influenced carving. All the English manuscripts, compared with other West Germanic peoples, the Anglo-Saxons are exceptional in their early use of writing and in the large amount of writing that survives. Writing in those times were very much the property of the church, and written texts were largely produced in monastic scriptoria. Writing was mostly in Latin. Names of English places and people had to be written down. Certain traditional features of Anglo-Saxon life, such as the law, would need to reflect the language in which it had been handed down in traditional form to maintain ancient legal practices. Anglo-Saxon charters. Many documents survived various wills, grants, deeds of purchase agreements, proceedings of church councils, laws. They are known as Anglo-Saxon charters. And it's your home task. Make summary notes, find information about literature Bibles, prepare presentation about dialects of Old English period.